I'm your host, Jen Jean, and today we're winding into a topic that's not just within our, I guess, romantic relationships. We're winding the lens to explore relationships with siblings, with friends, with coworkers, and the complicated uh, situations where we are, you know, looking beyond our ride or die romantic partnerships. So, again, I'm Jen Jean, and with me is.
John Christian, and together we're here to talk about the three sneaky, painful, universal struggles that show up in all sorts of relationships. And these are the friction points where connection break down and also where transformation begins.
Yeah, so I would say, um, don't worry, we're not just going to name those so called pain points and leave you kind of there. We're bringing some tools and insights. And one of our favorite frameworks, we like to call it the value matrix. And this is something that John uses a lot in his coaching, and I tap into as well. And we use it in our own personal relationships. And this is to help you move through it. So let's go ahead and dive into what the value matrix is and what those pain points are. So I like to think of it when we start talking about this value matrix, we want to look into the role of self awareness and in relationship awareness as well. And again, that's with any relationship you're in. Sometimes the pain in the relationship isn't just between the two individuals, it's within us as a person. It's our unspoken expectations, our fears, our childhood narratives sneak into the dialogue without us even realizing it. So, all awareness begins with self awareness. And I know everybody's like, oh, heard that one before, roll of eyes, right? Like, so some of the things to think about to tap into that self awareness, maybe even in the moment with someone else, is kind of like the self talk. It's if I don't feel heard, dot, dot, dot. So think about that. Think about for yourself, well, if I don't feel heard, what happens for me? Or if I made it safe for others to hear me, what does that look like? Or if I feel disconnected, have I disconnected from myself? If we're misaligned, have I checked in with my own vision today? So these are just some things you can think about. And for those of you that like to journal, what part of me am I asking someone else to hold and that I haven't fully held for myself? That's like another prompt. You can even just reflect on that question or journal that question.
Yeah, I love that. And let's dive into the idea of not being heard, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to in relationships. And, it's a very common feeling and a familiar ache to many, many people. So, whether it's your partner or your parent or your best friend or your boss, when your words feel like they're bouncing off of a wall, not planting roots, it definitely stings.
Yeah. And I don't feel like it's that the other person doesn't care, and I can say that even within our relationship, it's that we're not operating in that awareness, right? We're reacting instead of receiving the experience. So an awareness point when that seems to happen is ask yourself, am I listening to understand or am I listening to respond, right? And it's it falls under the respect and I guess the communication quadrant when we think about the value matrix. And when we aren't being heard, we're often lacking mutual value recognition. So I think some people might refer to it like we're not on the same page, right? We're not honoring those values that we share. So what's the remedy to that? I think begin with curiosity, over correctness and the need to be right. So I think some things people can practice when that happens is create like a mirror moment. It's when one person speaks for like, I don't know, maybe 90 seconds, right? And the other reflects back what they heard. Um, Not to correct that person or be right, but to confirm and feel connected. So that person also feels heard. So do it without interruption, and you're like training your relationship in active empathy, right? It's that connection that's super powerful. So, John, you want to, well, I guess I could talk about disconnection. So, and disconnection, it shows up when life gets busy. I guess you and I just had a disconnection moment there. when when wounds go unspoken, or when you start kind of defaulting into surface level interactions.
Yeah. I found myself moving away from surface level interactions, as I started my journey into coaching. So, you know, doing that in life, besides where else is that showing up in your life? And many times it's in relationships. So, um, yeah, so you're doing life besides each other versus with each other, so an awareness point around that you can discuss with your significant other or friend or family member or whoever is that you're looking to improve your relationship with is ask, when was the last time I shared something vulnerable, unpolished, or joyful? That just because, so many times people share things with an agenda. So releasing yourself from the agenda and then looking at things from, this idea of this value matrix lens and, the disconnection of lives in the present, and intention, so with the intention and the presence comes peace and connection. So when this value is missing, we drift. And when it's practice, we can anchor, so you guys can try this is implement a weekly alignment ritual, whether that's a 10-minute, looking in each other's eyes or walking together. Jen and I oftentimes do that. We check in a lot. We ask each other, what's one thing you're holding back lately? Because many times as a couple, you don't want to hurt the other person, but sometimes you want to bring things to awareness that other people may not. So, presence is that bridge back to belonging and connection. And if we look at outside of that, principles and the misalignment of principles and values, Jen and I oftentimes have conversations about our vision, both together and individually. And, misalignment in values or life vision is going to cause a lot of challenges and issues. So this can feel like a huge challenge, like tectonic plates colliding into each other or shifting underneath, making the relationship feel very unstable. But when you have that foundation to stand on, you can move forward very powerfully as a couple.
Yeah, and again, it's not necessarily about romantic couples. It's, a lot of what you and I talk about is very relatable to multiple types of relationships, and misalignment can happen in any form of a relationship, and it's not always bad. It's just information, right? It's identifying that something's happening, right? And it's giving you information about it. It's a call for clarity, like what's going on here, what's our next step, and I think that awareness is extremely key. You could ask yourself, do I truly know what matters most to this person? Again, it doesn't have to be your significant other. It could be what matters to my coworker, what matters to my best friend, to my child. And have I shared what matters most to me? And have I done that recently? So when we look at it from a value matrix lens, um, this lives in the vision and integrity quadrant, right? So if when we talk about family members, is this the same vision that the family has as a family unit? Is this a vision with an am I in integrity with my coworker? What we're working on as far as projects. So when we're misaligned, it often means our internal compass isn't being shared, or I guess some people say respected. Sometimes I like to use the word honored. It's kind of like being in integrity with yourself and with that other person and in that space with them. So um, align when we talk about alignment in that way, do the values and the vision exchange area, each of you can write down your top 5 personal values and your ideal life snapshot, and then swap that. Even when you talk about from kind of like a team perspective, it's the same thing. It's coming together and understanding. Are we sharing the same values? Are we in alignment with what our team is looking to accomplish in those goals? So, um, you know, I think it's important to write those things down, share them, and look for the bridge points to come together, because unity isn't just about being identical, it's about being intertwined and moving forward from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Moving forward, I'd say with courage and commitment, so whether you're feeling unseen, slowly drifting apart, or wondering if you're walking two different roads, remember this, that every relationship is a living organism and it needs care, conversation, and consciousness.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, John, but for me, when we talk about like these pain points, I, I believe that they are sacred invitations to understanding and being aware of who we are and how we're showing up. They're invitations to evolve, right? To align to either a shared purpose or vision, or to pushing yourself to the next level, and to return to each other with new eyes and open hearts and new perspectives. So when our hearts ache, it's not breaking, it's breaking open, it's being vulnerable and looking to step up to another level. And from that open place, real connection and love gets to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that we're meant to navigate all this stuff alone. And, it's a blessing to be able to share this journey with you, as my wife and life partner. And
Likewise.
yeah, so we appreciate um, you walking with us today, and keep asking those brave questions, keep choosing that meaningful work, and it will absolutely support you and your relationships moving forward.
Yeah. So with that, we look forward to you joining us on our next episode. If you would like to reach out to us and learn more about the value matrix, please do reach out on social media, or you can visit John at John Christian. Is it johnchristian.com, right? Your
I think it's John Christian Javert Media, or johnjavertmedia.com, or zerkers.com.
Yeah. Or you can reach out to me on jenjean.com. And, if you're thinking that, hey, I would love to come on the podcast and have a conversation about, my relationship with my partner, it could be together, it could be solo. We would love to have you. So just reach out to us.
Absolutely. All
Cool.
right. Thank you, guys.